what is the rationale for opting for a subject like sociology as an optional paper for the UPSC?
What is India's neighborhood first policy?
But why still the Kerala is called God's own country?
What did the Gadgil report say about Western Ghats? Why was it not implemented? And what is the status of Kasturi Sha recommendations?
Do you think there is a contest between quality and the quantity in that way?
May I come in, sir?
Yes, come in.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Please be seated.
Thank you, sir.
Please give a brief introduction about yourself.
Sir, my name is Kasturi Sha and I'm from the Thiruvananthapuram district of Kerala. I did my graduation in BA English, Language and Literature from Maravanias College, and I was the first rank holder of the university. After my graduation, I started preparing for the civil services examination, and this is my first attempt, sir. Apart from that, my hobbies include writing. I'm a writer. I've authored 3 books, and I also love reading Indian English literature, sir.
Wonderful. You are so passionate about English literature.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me what is the rationale for opting for a subject like sociology as an optional paper for the UPSC?
Yes, sir. I've always been interested in the social sciences, sir. I did my class 11 and 12 in the humanities stream, and after that I pursued my passion in learning English literature. But when I learned English literature, I also realized that literature is related with the society from which it stems. So now I wanted to learn about society in an objective point of view, and preparing for the exam gave me an opportunity to learn a different subject and explore society in detail, sir.
Okay, Kasturi, tell me, as we are all aware, India has been at the forefront of advancing women-led development, isn't it? And
Yes, sir.
Promoting gender equality, be it women's leadership, entrepreneurial skills, or education and all that. As a student of sociology, tell me how gender dimensions are changing in our country.
So we live in the present world where the women-led development has acquired a lot of importance, and in that sense, comparing between the condition of women in the pre-independence period and the post-independence period, we can definitely find that a huge shift has taken place, especially the current government's policy of Nari Shakti. So a big change that I can say is that when India became independent, the literacy rate among women was very low. It was around 10%. But when we stand at the threshold of the present day, we find that the literacy rate of women has considerably gone up, which has increased their exposure, the opportunities they get, and also regarding the workforce participation as well, sir. So that is one point regarding their education. And secondly, we also find that the health indicators of women is improving, it's coming up, sir. So regarding the human development, the women's condition has progressed, sir.
What about entrepreneurial skill?
Yes, sir. The Startup India scheme, which has found that over 56% of the loans which has been disbursed is given to the women. So we also find that the initiatives that the government is taking has resulted in bringing a positive change for the women to avail the capital so that they can start their own enterprises and be financially secure and independent, sir.
And how the women are getting empowered?
So firstly, when they are able to stand up on their own feet by becoming financially and economically independent. And secondly, as we know, when a woman is educated, the entire family, her children, the prospects of her family as well as the children to get educated also goes up higher. So in that sense, when we empower women, the larger nation is also getting empowered, sir.
The government of India has launched many schemes to bridge the gap in gender inequality. So tell us about 1 or 2 schemes which you think are really good schemes initiated by the government of India, and why?
So one scheme that comes to my mind now is the Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana, which has been brought up for the welfare of pregnant and lactating mothers. So that has also helped to bridge the gap in the health performance index of the women. And that also, apart from women, it is also promoting the education of girl child.
How about Ujjwala Yojana?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
It is providing LPG connections and cleaner fuel, which will also improve the quality of life of women.
Ujjwala Yojana, does it cover women of rural India only, or it covers women of urban areas also?
Sir, I am not sure about that, sir.
Okay. How self-help group is functioning in Kerala?
Yes, sir. Kerala is known for a self-help group that's called the Kudumbashri. And the Kudumbashri is organized in a hierarchical level, beginning from the neighborhood groups, which is called as Ayalkotam, which is a conglomeration of similarly placed women. It can include up to 10 to 20 members who meet on a regular basis and they save. They pool their savings, they can open accounts with the nearest cooperative banks. And apart from saving, promoting this habit of thrift, the self-help group of Kudumbashri also has encouraged entrepreneurship activities among women. For instance, an example would be the Cafe Kudumbashri, which is run by the women, where they run small canteens catering to the needs of students and office goers, providing food at a considerably affordable rates.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Kasturi, what is India's neighborhood first policy?
So, in the neighborhood first policy, India gives importance to its neighbors, especially, for instance, we have the ASEAN from the from the Look East. Now we have transitioned to an Act East policy.
Okay.
And
So in neighborhood first policy, we are focusing more on our extended neighborhood than on our immediate neighborhood. Is that what you mean to say?
No, sir. Also our immediate neighbors. For instance, like
How
Bangladesh.
many immediate neighbors we have?
Sir, Bangladesh, Pakistan.
You would need to count them?
Count.
Okay.
So can I?
Yes.
Yes. Bangladesh, Pakistan, Bhutan, Myanmar, China, Sri Lanka, Maldives.
Pakistan?
Yes.
Pakistan you have counted?
Yes.
What about Afghanistan? Is it a neighbor or not?
Afghanistan, we do not have a long border with Afghanistan, so
Okay. As per Government of India, we have 9 neighbors, right?
yes.
So do you think our neighborhood first policy is working well? Do we have good relations with all our neighbors?
So we've been trying to have good relations with our neighbors, but the picture is not that rosy. We have challenges concerning bilateral relationships.
Okay, with which country we have challenge? Recently, a challenge has emerged.
So recently, challenge has emerged in the relationship with Maldives following a regime change
There,
in the
okay.
island.
But what has Lakshadweep got to do with India-Maldives relations?
So recently, 3 deputy ministers in Maldives, they have been removed following the comments that they made about India as well as the Prime Minister of India.
Right.
And there were challenges concerning the tourism where they raised allegations.
Okay. So the issue is that the previous regime in Maldives, it had an India first foreign policy.
Yes.
What is the current foreign policy of the present government in Maldives?
There has been a transition from India first to a pro-China policy, and to keep, there was an India out campaign which was supported by the current government, the current party.
What is Sagar Doctrine?
So it is security and growth for all in the region. It's a pillar of maritime security in India's maritime policy, where it encourages inclusive development for.
Okay. Kasturi, you come from Kerala, right?
Yes, sir.
So there was this famous Sabrimala case in the Supreme Court, and it was decided in the favor of women, right? But if you have to choose between right to religious freedom, which is a fundamental right,
Yes.
and the right to equality, which is again a fundamental right.
Yes, sir.
So according to you, which should be given more precedence and why?
So both the rights, the right to freedom as well as the right to the religion, both of them stand at an equal plank. But if a choice has to be made, sir, I would agree with the right to individual freedom because our constitution itself upholds the liberal right of the individual. And
Okay, you also engage in YouTube content creation.
yes,
So
sir.
these days what we are witnessing is many civil servants becoming YouTubers.
Mm.
Do you support this, or like you feel that this violates the cardinal principles of anonymity which on which civil services is based?
Yes, sir. As sir rightly mentioned, the anonymity is a hallmark of a civil servant. But at the same time, sir, the creative fields of expression for a civil servant, because apart from being a civil servant, the person might also be a dancer, might be a musician. So the creativity needs to be exposed because it's also an important part of
During
the
working hours or like outside of working hours?
outside working hours. It should never come in conflict with the professional
So is
integrity.
moonlighting okay for civil servants?
Sir?
Moonlighting okay for civil servants?
Sir, it should not be for an economic remuneration purpose. It should be for the expression of creative interest. It could also inspire a lot
Okay,
of
my
people.
final question
sir.
to you, Kasturi. There was
Yes,
a
sir.
case in Kerala related to Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me in very briefly what was it and what has been the outcome?
Sir,
There was a blast.
Yes, sir, yes. At Kalamasheri in Kochi, where a youngster who went against the ideologies of
Who are these people, Jehovah's Witnesses?
they are a sect within Christianity, but they do not completely identify with all the Christian norms. Rather, they have a different set of beliefs. For instance, they do not believe in singing the national
Okay, thank you,
anthem.
Kasturi.
Yes, sir.
Kasturi,
Yes, sir.
Kerala has had successive communist government over the years and years. But why still the Kerala is called God's own country?
Sir, the tag of God's own country was brought up by the tourism department in Kerala to promote the tourism potential of the state, sir.
But don't you think the successive government has also promoted it? It very much goes against the values of communism. The Marx, he said that religion is the opium of mass. How is it synonymous with the idea?
Sir, in Kerala, we usually find regime change between the communist and the Congress governments. It is for the first time during the post-COVID time that we have had a communist government sitting continuously in power twice. So with that being said, the communist government in Kerala has changed according to the Kerala society. It is not completely Marxist or the pro-Russian, but rather it has adapted to the society in Kerala, sir, where it takes into consideration the contemporary social realities as well.
Okay, and now what are mangroves and why it is important? And also tell me the significance of backwaters in Kerala.
Yes, sir. The mangrove ecosystem is an important ecotone or a transitionary zone between one ecosystem and the other. For instance, it is found in the transition from a terrestrial to a marine area in the marshes in the salty water regions. Mangroves can be found at several of the coastal regions in Kerala. For instance, in Thiruvananthapuram, we can find it in Poovar, which is near Vizhinjam. The significance of backwaters, sir, in Kerala is that firstly, for its ecological significance and in ensuring the flow, in regulating the drainage flow of the rivers when they meet the seas. Secondly, sir, its importance for the tourism sector. A lot of people find their livelihood connected with the backwater tourism, the houseboat tourism that exists, for example, like we have it in Alappuzha. And thirdly, the fishing sector, especially the inland fisheries. And
Absolutely.
Yes.
Could you also point out some of the challenges that the fishermen of the Kerala right now are facing? Some of the challenges that you think?
Yes, sir. I come from a coastal village called Chirengir, and I've seen the problems faced by the fishermen at very close quarters right from my childhood, sir. Firstly, the problem is that even their houses and settlements are not at all secure. once we have a heavy lash of monsoon and the turbulent sea, the next morning their houses are just razed off, and they are moved to the camps, for shelter camps. So that is one issue, sir. Secondly, the infrastructure that they have for fishing, for the manufacturing and the sale of products like fish, even the dried fish products, as well as marketing facilities are very limited. The old women, they even have to walk 5 to 6 kilometers daily to sell out fish. There are no proper marketing facilities yet, sir. And
Okay. Also, what we have seen that Parliament recently has seen mass suspensions of the members of Parliament. Right. Now, how do you what in your opinion is this trend signifies? Do you think it is going in the right direction of parliamentary democracy, or it is against the values of democracy? What is your opinion?
so parliamentary democracy rests on the principle of having a strong and vibrant opposition. So when we are curbing out dissent and opposition forces from the parliament, it would naturally affect the smooth functioning of a democracy. But at the same time, maintaining of the parliamentary dignity and decorum is also the responsibility of the opposition, so that they get a fair chance to take part in the procedures of the House.
But mass suspensions of MP, how is it justified? Do you think the kind of expression or the kind of sentimental, the sentiment that has been reflected is nothing but it is muzzling the voices of freedom of speech and expression, or maybe the debate, dissent, dialogueship, and of course all these cultures are actually to be promoted earlier, but now it is like it is believed, or it is alleged to be believed, that they are actually curbing the dissent. So what is your opinion? What should be done? What is the way forward?
So the way forward is that the MPs should not be suspended for a long period of time. Maybe for a day or two for disrupting the functioning of the House will be fine, so that a discipline can be brought back. But once it is restored, it is important that the opposition's voices, the dissent will have to be heard, and accordingly, so that we can promote dialogue.
Thank you, Kasturi.
Thank you, sir.
Kasturi.
Yes, ma'am.
So coming from Kerala, which is part of Western Ghats,
Yes, ma'am.
very close to your name, there has been a report on Western Ghats. A committee was there. Can you tell me which is it?
It's the Kasturi Rangan committee report.
Kasturi Rangan committee. And prior to it was on Western Ghats?
It was the Gadgil
Madhav
committee.
Gadgil.
Yes.
So what did the Gadgil report say about Western Ghats? Why was it not implemented? And what is the status of Kasturi Rangan recommendations?
Ma'am, I'll have to read more about it, ma'am.
No problem. Remember anything about Kasturi Rangan recommendations?
Yes, ma'am. The Kasturi Rangan report stood for the complete conservation of the Western Ghats, complete protection, and it was opposed to all sorts of human activities in the Western Ghats.
No, I think you need to go back and
Okay,
read
yes,
it.
ma'am, I'll read more on it now.
What are eco-sensitive areas
Yes, ma'am.
or ecologically sensitive zones?
Ecologically sensitive zones are soft spots in the environment where any kind of human intervention like agriculture, intensive plantation or mining could disrupt the ecological balance and sustainability of the region, ma'am. Especially
Are you sure of what you're speaking? In Kerala, there was a huge hue and cry about ecologically sensitive areas to be declared, which people were opposing. In that context, I'm asking.
in that context, oh yes, ma'am. It was regarding the Supreme Court verdict of buffer zones around the
Right,
national
so these are
parks.
ecologically sensitive areas.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what was the protest about?
The Supreme Court verdict said that I'm not sure, I think it's 1 kilometer or 5 kilometer. I'll have to check on it, ma'am.
Okay, anyway, we'll leave this also,
Yes.
no problem. Since you come from Kerala and you're a student of sociology, what would you consider the parts of Kerala society which is very famously called as matrilineal societies, the Nair community?
Yes, ma'am.
So is it just matrilineal or is it matriarchal?
Ma'am, the traditional Nair Tarawad was matrilineal because the descent was traced from the mother to her daughter. But we cannot say it is completely matriarchal because the mother's brother had often an authoritative position in the Nair household, ma'am.
Why is it that we often come across matrilineal society, but it's difficult to find an absolute matriarchal society? Why do you think that this is the scenario?
Ma'am, the scenario might be that one reason is because within the household, the women will have power, but when it comes to interaction with the larger society, negotiations with the larger society, the role of man becomes important there because the larger society is patriarchal. For instance, be it the
Even
case
within a society which is completely matrilineal, is it the men outside the houses which call the shots?
Ma'am, once more please.
Even in a society which is largely matrilineal,
Yes, ma'am.
still is it the men who influence power? I mean, then it would have been easier for the matrilineal to get converted into matriarchal. Why is it that even there the men have the authority?
Ma'am, men still hold the authority because when there is, for example, when there is a land transaction that is required to be undertaken between the family and the external society, there the role of a woman as a mediator in a land transaction would not be accepted because the larger society is patriarchal. In that case, the intervention of a man becomes necessary there.
Okay, my last question to you, there was a case of this Tusker Arikomban.
Yes, ma'am.
Why was it so much in news, and what is the status now of the Tusker?
Ma'am, it is an instance of the man-animal conflict that we've been witnessing in the state, where the elephant, it got aggressive, it started attacking shops, the ration shops, plundering. It's called Arikompan because it was after rice. And then the government took a step where it was relocated, but even after relocation there were instances where it was getting violent and it was even trying to find its way back.
So was it the mistake was on the part of the elephant because it was getting violent, or was it the mistake on part of humans which have actually encroached upon its unique habitat?
Yes, ma'am. It was an impact, a fallout of human intervention, and the man-animal conflict in Kerala usually happens because of this reason, where humans are encroaching into the wildlife habitats and unscientific settlement pattern as well, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Kasturi.
Thank you, ma'am.
Kasturi,
Yes, sir.
one of the prominent industrialists in India, he has talked about 70 hours working, the culture, so that India could be, made to achieve, some progress, sort of achieving, developed India. You being a sociologist, how do you see his statement in the pretext of, the Indian workforce and its aspiration, for to become a developed country?
Sir, I'm not aware of the 70-hour work concept.
In a week,
In a week.
he has advised, the young labor force to work for at least 70 hours a week. How a sociologist is, going to perceive and, visualize this sort of, the working hours? What kind of the sociological changes, he or she can, feel within this, context?
Sir,
like, how does, like, the life and work balance, is going to be fair?
Okay.
Something like this.
Yes. So looking at it from a sociological perspective, when the working hours would go up, when we increase it to 70 hours per week, firstly, sir, it will lead to a state of anomie, like Durkheim has said in his theory, where a kind of normlessness might be experienced by the laborer. Especially when there's a sudden transition, he might not be able to manage his family and his work. So that is one side of the story. But at the same time, maybe the 70-hour might be too much, but we could moderate it and ensure that the worker is not exploited beyond a particular point.
At the same time, like, some Western countries, they are also, going for maybe 4 days working in a week, or 5 days working in a week.
Yes.
In this context where India stands, do you think this is like, an individual advice, tendered to the nation or society as a whole, or has it any relevance?
Yes, sir, it does have relevance because naturally the human psychology would work in such a manner that if I work 4 days a week, 3 days is off. So contributing one's best, the most productive potential in the 4 days. So looking at it from the human resource management perspective and the human psychological
Do you think
aspect.
there is a contest between quality and the quantity in that way? So like, you are engaged in more hours of the working, but you are producing less in terms of the value. Do you think this sort of, the binaries are being created?
No, sir. I don't think that would happen, because in the time that they are working, the 4 days a week, they will be able to put in their best productive.
Fine, not an issue. Kasturi, tell me, the institution of the marriage is, very under pressure nowadays. You being sociologist, how do you see when the official position that has been taken by Honorable Supreme Court, that the decision lies with the Parliament in terms
Yes.
of legalizing same-sex marriages? You as a sociologist, how do you perceive?
So the conventional theories that we have in sociology defines marriage as a union between people of the opposite genders, but considering the importance that we attach to individual liberties, and the sense of individualism is also on the rise these days. So in that context, marriage goes beyond the restrictions of gender, where even the gender identities are becoming fluid these days. So when we recognize the marriage rights of the LGBTQ community, we are actually standing in for human dignity there. We are promoting their rights for dignified existence there.
Fine.
Yes, sir.
There is an ongoing debate in the country regarding status of the official language.
Yes, sir.
You see, there are 22 languages. Hindi is the most widely spoken language in the country. Do you think time has come to make Hindi as an official language?
So, Hindi has been recognized as the official language in a constitution, but that does not mean that India needs a single national language everywhere, because India is known for its linguistic diversity, and the promotion of that linguistic diversity is what we need, sir, rather than imposing one single language all over the country.
Okay, one final question.
Yes, sir.
You have authored books, you write poetry, short stories. So could you recite a poem which is very close to your heart and conveying some social message?
So, in the recent book that I've published, The 36 Shades of Red, there is a section called, I've divided into 3 sections. First is Joys of Jiva, which speaks about the happiness of life. Second part is Sobs from Shoka, about the uncertainties, the troubles that human beings undergo. And the third section is Mahila Manifesto, which is pro-women. So I'd like to recite a few lines from the Mahila Manifesto.
Go ahead.
One of the poems there is Why. The title of the poem is Why. And the poem goes like this. A little girl pondering over her first thoughts, her first realizations, burnt me with questions, which I asked at 9, but which I'm afraid to ask at 29. Why is it that women ride pillion on the bikes? Why is it that only women wear Mangal Sutras? Why is it that my mother not pray 1 week every month? Yes, sir,
Wonderful.
that's how
Thank
it
you
goes.
very much. Yeah, nice talking to you.
Thank you, sir.
Your interview is over. You may go now.
Thank you, sir. May I come in, sir?
Come in.
Thank you, sir.
Sit down, Kasturi.
Thank you, sir.
When is your interview?
Sir, the date has not been announced, sir.
Okay, okay. So you are not in the first phase.
No, sir.
Okay. This is which attempt?
Sir, it's the first attempt.
This is your first attempt.
Yes.
Very nice. Very nice. So how was your experience today with us?
Sir, it was interesting, sir, and I've only seen the board in YouTube video so far, so getting to see you all in real was a
That there is one part of it. The other part is how did you analyze your performance? Could you get time to analyze or think over it?
so I'll have to think about it more.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. You see, let me tell you at the very outset, you are an excellent candidate.
Thank you.
Wonderful candidate with sterling qualities of head and heart.
Thank you, sir.
So, no issues, major issues. You see, you are a young girl. UPSC will like to induct you and give you good marks in the personality test unless you commit some blunder in the interview. So, first point is that you should stay honest.
Yes, sir.
Personal integrity is very important because the board is going to select a future bureaucrat, and that he or she should show sterling qualities of honesty and integrity.
Yes.
So no compromise on your integrity. How will we come to know about your qualities of integrity? By the way you answer questions. So you have to be very, very sincere in your approach.
Yes.
If you don't know, don't speak.
Yes.
So simply say, sir, I don't know. Admit it.
Yes.
And wherever you know, try to give a balanced view.
Yes.
Okay. So two things are very important.
Yes.
Balanced opinion, integrity, and third thing is that wherever you can give some solution, some out of the box solution kind of thing, some innovative idea, just go for it. Like last question on the poetry and all that, that really cleans the entire interview in your favor. If that kind of thing happens, make use of that. So that is very important.
Yes.
Otherwise, you are a girl from Kerala. The questions will be revolving around 2-3 issues, which I personally feel. One will be the women empowerment in general, because you are a student of sociology also. So, why women in Kerala are very literate? Why women in the counterpart in the north side of India is not so literate? Human Development Index, if you have a look at that,
Yes.
Kerala is almost at the top in every parameters.
Yes, sir.
Whereas the states like Uttar Pradesh, UP and Jharkhand, they are at the bottom of the ladder. Why such type of thing is happening? Like you spoke about the self-help group,
Yes,
the
sir.
Kudumbashree and all that. Do you think that such type of can be replicated in the states like this? And then second counter question will be that though women in Kerala are literate, still why they are so unhappy? Your alcoholism problem of your migration, all those things will come into
Yes, sir.
the play. So you must expect questions with respect to migration. So how the pattern of migration to other states and migration outside India.
Yes, sir.
How that though the dynamics is changing in Kerala,
Yes.
and what are its impacts? What are its impact on the social fabric of Kerala? That is very important.
Yes, sir.
Because being a student of sociology, such type of questions will be asked. Then the schemes launched by the government of India or the state government, that is very important in terms of, as I asked you about the changing gender dimensions and all
Yes.
that. You spoke well on that. But some of the schemes like Ujjwala Yojana, your self-help group you mentioned, Mission Shakti, Mission Vatsalya, so many Yojanas are there. Your Mudra Yojana and all that. You should be familiar with all these concepts. That's very important. Then coming to today's performance, okay. So by and large, it went well.
Yes, sir.
At some areas, I think you spoke without having a knowledge. That is dangerous. That should be avoided.
Yes.
Like Kasturi Rangan committee, you don't know, admit, sir, I have not studied it, so I won't be able to answer questions related to this.
Yes.
Instead, you engaged into discussion and gave a wrong answer. So that should be avoided.
Yes.
This is the lesson you should take, that wherever you don't know, don't go as per based on the guess. So no conjectures, no surmises.
Yes.
That's very clear. Okay. Then similarly, eco-sensitive area. Again, so just
Yes.
go back, reflect on these things.
Yes.
And bottom line is, the message from this board is that never ever compromise on honesty.
Yes.
Don't know doesn't matter, but speak only when you know, and try to give very crisp answers, very focused, very crisp, to the point. So that will increase your quality of this thing, interview manifold.
Yes, sir.
Then again, coming to other things, questions raised by our colleagues, you answered very well. Parliament, fishermen, all those issues were very well. Neighborhood first policy. Neighborhood first policy, we expected that you will speak about the neighborhood. What is neighborhood first policy? Instead, you started speaking about locust policy and all that. That should be avoided.
Yes.
Okay. Then your another question, right to equality, freedom of religion, you got mixed up there also. So just think for a while. What is the intent of the question? Why this board member is asking me this question? And just collect your thoughts for a while.
Yes.
And after conjuring up your ideas, you come out with your response.
Yes.
Then it will be very, because you have read everything. Only thing you have to think it for a while. Then your otherwise, by and large, it went well. You have all the good qualities, excellent qualities rather, of becoming a good bureaucrat.
Thank
No
you,
doubt
sir.
about it. Become a good civil servant. But the issues of remittance is another thing which is important. Now Kerala has been relegated to number 2 position. Maharashtra has taken over. Why? How remittance has been playing an important role in the economy of Kerala.
Yes.
That is one, and how this is sources are getting shifted from one area to another area. That is one area that is important. Floods, another important area of Kerala. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Sabrimala is third important area there. So you have to have a view on everything, and that view has to be balanced.
Yes.
So that is what is important for you. And then trade, ancient trade of Kerala with other countries and all that.
Yes.
So there's maybe some questions on spices and all that, why grown in that state, and what was the trade route and all that, where all India traded from Kerala coast and all that. And then your present scenario, why the crops, commercial crops, are losing its value, like rubber plantation is one problem. Why rubber plantation is not remunerative anymore in Kerala. There are reasons for that. You have to know the reasons why it is that. And then about the government, you answered very well. There somebody may ask you about the trade union functioning in Kerala. That is another big area in Kerala where fair wages, even if you don't work, was there. Now
Yes.
they have put it. And then some controversies, political controversies around a few individuals in Kerala, which you must have read during last 1 or 2 years. How one of the lady officers was implicated and what all happened. So read about that. I think otherwise you will be able to, and because sociological thinkers, some international thinkers, some Indian thinkers.
Yes, sir.
Like 4 or 5 thinkers, you must be fully aware. M.N. Srinivas is one such thinker. What are his theories? Then Mr. Ghuriye, Mr. Desai, Yogendra Singh, those 4 or 5 names, Irati Karve, 4 or 5 names you should be remembering it should be there at the tip of your tongue, and what has been their contribution.
Yes, sir.
Prepare on these lines and you will do well, and have confidence in yourself. Go with a positive body language and a smile on face. You will be wearing sari or you will be going in this dress only?
Not this dress, sir. In a salwar, an off-white salwar.
Off-white salwar. What is going to be the fabric of that salwar?
It's cotton.
Cotton
Yes.
only. Cotton, local cotton or cotton from somewhere else? Just think of that. Whatever
Yes.
you wear, think about what the fabric is.
Yes.
Somebody may ask you questions
Yes.
on that. Otherwise, go with a positive mind and a positive body language. You will
Yes.
do well.
Thank you,
All
sir.
the best.
Thank
All
you,
the
sir.
best.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.